All right, awesome guys. So thanks everyone for joining our first iteration of our CCG customer experience workshop. Today we've got CATO on with us, and they're one of the leading SASE companies in the industry today. Do a lot of work with them on SD-WAN and SASE deployments. And of course, today we're talking about how we can use their solution to help our customers secure remote contact center agents. Couple quick facts, but ever since everyone started working from home, ransomware or phishing attacks have gone up by 600%, and ransomware attacks have gone up 150%. And they say that it takes about 60 days longer to identify a breach when you're dealing with remote agents and remote workforce. So definitely a necessary solution in the industry today, and something that they can really help out our customers, make sure y'all stay safe and your agents are working safely and smartly. So just a little bit about Cloud Communications Group. We are a technology expense management and IT advisory firm. Basically, in real world terms, much like a real estate agent helps you find a home and get you the best deal on that home, we help you find technology solutions. So a huge focus in cloud contact center and cybersecurity. So this is, having CATO here is a great way to kick off our webinar series for sure. Lots of firepower on the team, lots of expertise. So our goal is to become an extension of your team. Make sure you're getting the best solution for your growing business, whether that is cloud contact center or cybersecurity like we're talking about today. But we also help in cloud, traditional circuits, other cybersecurity products, EDR, and such. Our goal is to really help you answer some of these questions. So of course, making sure you're not wasting time with the wrong vendors. We all know that salespeople definitely have a quota to hit, and they want to hit those numbers. So they're always pushing on you, pushing their solution, pushing you to close at the end of the month, and no one likes dealing with that. So we step in the middle there, so you don't have to work with those guys anymore. And also making sure that y'all are getting the best contracts, best contract values for your organization, and the contract terms as well, making sure the contract terms are favorable. So with that little overview on CCG and how we can help y'all as customers, I'll turn it over to Joel and the CATO team so we can talk about the CATO solution and how to use their solution to secure remote contact center agents.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mackenzie. I will also just echo, CCG is a great partner if you're looking for somebody to help you do some vendor management, manage some projects, and obviously some expense management as well. They do a great job there. So great partner to work with, and we appreciate them letting us be on this series of webinars specifically to discuss our SASE option to secure remote agents. So I'm going to share my screen really quick because I think people like pictures to look at. So I'm going to pull this up. Let me make sure that everybody can see that, right? Look good? Okay. So I'll introduce myself real quick. My name is Joel Rollins. I'm the sales director for Texas for CATO Networks, based in Dallas. And I've got Jerry Young on as well. Jerry, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jerry Young. I am one of the senior sales engineers here at CATO Networks, working with Joel for opportunities.
Great, thanks, Jerry. And I'll just kind of set the stage here real quick of what we want to go over. We probably won't even take too much time, which is what I kind of like about this webinar is we're 30 minutes. So we'll give you all the bits and bytes of what's important and get you back on with your day. So I do want to take a little bit of time to introduce CATO as a company, but also set the stage of the agenda, kind of what we're walking through. I want to give you guys a good glimpse of what CATO is as a whole, where we sit in our network globally, and then we'll just jump right into the very basic specific of this webinar of securing remote agents, discuss our SDP Zero Trust VPN solution. So really quick, CATO is about 7 years old. We were valued about 8 months ago at $1 billion recently, and I think that comes from the speed of acquisition of our clients as well as who founded our company as well. Our solution covers a host of things, not just the obviously the remote agents. That we will focus on that today. And I'll just jump through the slides to give you guys a good idea of kind of how the solution works. And I do want to point out it's really simple. All of it kind of is based upon what we have built as a consumable network. So I'll just jump into it really quick. This is very high level. What we've done really simply, guys, is we've built out a POP network. So a bunch of data centers where we put our software stack, and then we've connected each one of those with at least 2 layers of private SLA backcore. So that gives you a way to literally consume a network that's redundant. And then obviously those POPs contain all of our software stack, basically. So the software stack is built out for network optimization, as well as security from next-gen firewall, all the way to what we call advanced security, IPS and anti-malware. We offer this as a flexible management option. So you can kind of do it yourself, or we can add on the fully managed service. Something that's important to note, and that I think is important for what we call SASE, or Secure Access Service Edge, which is an acronym I'm sure everybody has heard of by now, is CATO, we think it's important to be able to cover every single piece of the enterprise today. So typically our vendor customers have to go out and source a number of different vendors to be able to build a solution that CATO basically is already ready for. So a lot of people, and we talk about the branches, the physical sites, securing those is so important, and obviously getting access to all of your applications in critical time is important as well. CATO makes it available to bring in all of your endpoints. So you can bring in your remote users, obviously, your SaaS, your cloud, as well as your traditional branch offices and headquarters. So all you have to do is simply connect with whatever internet is already there or you're sourcing today, right to the nearest CATO point of presence. That is going to give you the option to, obviously, you'll get the optimized network, take you off the unpredictability of the public internet, and then cover all of that traffic with the security stack that you've selected as well. So I'm just going to jump over to our POP map to kind of show you where we're sitting. So again, if you have these remote users globally, wherever they are, we have done a good job of trying to get as close to them as possible. That's kind of the whole idea of CATO. A lot of what we're doing is really based around our network as a whole. So if you've got somebody out in Santiago, Chile, and they need to connect back to AWS on the East Coast of the United States, they will simply connect to that Santiago, Chile POP, giving them a very short hop over the public internet and getting them onto an SLA-backed core, which gives them a very predictable SLA and access to those applications that they're trying to access across the world. And this is obviously true for anywhere in the world. About 10 milliseconds from the majority of the world's population, or majority of the world's business users, I should say. So I'm going to jump over to our architecture slide. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here, but I just want to give everybody a glimpse of what we're covering today as a whole. So these are our CATO rings. This is obviously a representation of our POPs that I just showed you. And then the global private backbone is the multiple layers of connectivity in between each one of those POPs. I just wanted to note that, again, we're tying in everything that an enterprise probably deem critical and important. So we can secure and optimize your cloud access, your UCaaS, your contact center, and obviously your branch offices. These are some of the features that are built into the POP. Again, we'll build we have the security stack there that is for next-gen firewall, secure web gateway, and then all the way through our advanced threat protection. So we're really going to focus today on how we tie in our CATO SDP product with the remote and mobile workforce. And we're going to focus that as well on how we can improve and secure your UCaaS and contact center deployment as well for those, specifically for those remote agents today. So I don't have a ton of more slides here. I'm going to let Jerry kind of walk you all through just how to do that specifically. Jerry, you want to take it away?
Sure. So there's a variety of different aspects that are important to note here. First and foremost, when it comes to those remote users, the users that aren't a part of your organization, like Joel had mentioned, we do have over 71 points of presence today in our network that are available to be consumed by our customer base. These are automatically included, meaning that there is no additional cost to be able to leverage that technology, to be able to leverage that architecture. And when your user goes and takes that VPN client out and hits connect, they connect into the closest POP. So the only time that the traffic is on the open internet where it's unpredictable and you can't get a guarantee or a commitment behind it is as far as it is to the closest POP of where you're located. Beyond that, we also have a lot of additional special skills that are associated to those POPs, things like packet duplication. We can also do things like recovery. We have a TCP proxy that's built into those POPs, and what that actually does is it allows us, whenever traffic needs to be retransmitted from those POPs, rather than going all the way end to end from source to destination, it goes from source directly to where the POP is located, and it gets the rest of the traffic on that global backbone where we have that SLA behind it. Beyond that, these POPs are also located in facilities where a lot of these services are hosted. Things like RingCentral, 8x8, Fuse, Teams, Microsoft Teams Voice is an example. These are all living in the same data centers. We're following the AWS and the Azure footprint in terms of where they're placing their resources. And so as we look at how that is structured, as a customer of CATO, you can start to build out cloud optimization directly through the architecture that allows you to leverage that middle mile to privately route your traffic directly to the location of where those services are hosted and have them egress and essentially be like beachfront property, beachfront access into those resources. So what this is going to ultimately do is it's going to give you end-to-end visibility, end-to-end control. You know who's using the resource, when they're using the resource, how much of the resource. And then from a last mile perspective, you're also able to identify if those particular users are experiencing any problems with the traffic. That covers majority of what our solution does, and it's all done through a single stack that exists in the cloud. It's very, very easy to consume, use, and support. I think from a high level, Joel, that pretty much covers most aspects of the solution. I don't know if maybe we want to take a few questions, see if we have any questions from the audience.
Yeah, that'd be good. Guys, is there any questions in chat at this point or no?
So I can see one here. It looks like somebody asked, with the workforce moving from the office to home, how has that impacted the way that you deliver the voice services effectively? I don't know if you want to handle that, Joel, or I can take that question.
Go for it, Jerry.
So obviously, as your workforce moves outside your four walls, there's a challenge that's assigned to not only being able to get a commit or guarantee like you get when they're located in your office, but also being able to secure them, right? Since you can't see what other traffic they're doing, what other things that they're doing. One of the great things about our VPN solution is that we force all that traffic back on the network. but CATO takes the responsibility for additional bandwidth that's assigned to it. So unlike a traditional VPN where you have to make a decision, do I want to compromise on my application performance, or do I want to make sure that all of my users' traffic is secured? With CATO, since we take on responsibility for that added bandwidth, we can force all that traffic back and be very, very controlling of exactly what the users are allowed to get access to. Beyond that, right, as you start moving those users outside your four walls and you lose that visibility and control, the nice thing with CATO from a VPN perspective is you are going to have the ability to see what traffic that user is consuming, where they're going to, what applications that they're leveraging, so that you can come through and make optimization that ultimately improves that experience for the users. Gives you much more visibility into when there are problems that make it a lot quicker to remediate any ongoing issues that are taking place. Looks like there might be a few more questions. Here's another one. It's easy to see that the CATO backbone can obviously optimize the UC traffic. I'm assuming this can also support other cloud-based applications as well. Is there any other value gained from those types of services? Joel, I don't know. Do you want to answer that? I'd be happy to.
Please.
So similar, right? We're only really we're focusing specifically around UC and contact center and unified communications here today. But there's no reason that any of those clouds that are in the center of the screen there have to be specifically associated to UC. This can entail any cloud, any application that's delivered from the cloud. Because we can identify where those services are hosted, I can create specialized routing policies through our technology that leverage that middle mile to route the traffic directly to wherever that service is hosted and give you direct access into that resource. So we can essentially optimize any cloud-based application. The other thing that's important to note, and this is more focused on the UC again, the one thing that you're going to see with CATO is that since we have this architecture built out and there's 71 POPs that exist around the world, because we're structured in this capacity, we give you the flexibility to make choices from a UC or a contact center perspective. You're not pigeonholed into a specific solution because you've now devised a network to support Ring Central or devise a network to support 8x8. You have an architecture that's built out globally. That architecture exists at all these different data centers. And you as a customer can say tomorrow, Ring Central's not working for me anymore. I need to make an adjustment because I'm going to shift my workforce to start using 8x8 or start using Fuse or any of the other vendors for that matter. And we have the flexibility to build out policies and procedures that are going to support that design. So there's a lot of flexibility. It's going to give you a network that is capable of supporting whatever design that you ultimately end up coming up with, and the flexibility to make a decision to change paths if you have to, because you have a network that's designed to be able to support whatever's next.
Thanks, Jerry. One that I think would be good to answer here is, how is this different than a traditional VPN, or has this different from a Cisco product or a Palo Alto product?
So first and foremost, everything that you see here is created in-house. So it's unlike other products that are basically adding additional features by consuming additional organizations. Everything that CATO happens in the cloud is designed for the cloud. So because of that, it's very easy to consume. This is almost like the same way that architecture or infrastructure moved from being on-prem to the cloud, to where AWS and Azure started making it very easy to consume it. That's the exact same thing that you're going to get out of CATO. You get to take advantage of the fact that we've got that backbone built out. So that backbone is going to play huge dividends in the performance of your users. We also, again, take on the responsibility of that added bandwidth. So because you're not sending all of your traffic back to a data center where you're hosting your VPN services today, not only is the experience going to be better, not only is the performance going to be better, but you're on top of that, I don't have to be concerned that Susie's online watching Netflix and that ultimately affects my UC or my CC performance, because that's how I am allowing that traffic to get back into my environment. So you get much more control and flexibility because of that. Good questions.
Perfect. I was going to add, I think, not the technical side, but I think, our POP presence is fairly unique when it comes to how spread out we are and how many we have. So the density of that is what I think brings a lot of that stability to the connectivity of those remote users in general. Obviously, that's giving them redundancy that they would never have, as well as the optimization to have a little bit better experience when accessing any application, not just UCaaS and contact center. Anything else, guys?
Any more questions from the group? I can put them in the Q&A section if you'd like to add something. Joel, don't y'all have a pretty tight integration with one of the UC contact center providers out there? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, oops, I accidentally skipped that. So RingCentral is actually one of our customers and partners. So I think they utilize us obviously internally, as well as the story around that is fairly important when it comes to somebody who has decided on picking RingCentral as their provider for their UCaaS and CCaaS, obviously. So the way that is, I guess, a differentiator is because we are sitting in most of the or probably all of the points of presence that they're sitting in as well. Jerry, I'm not sure, do we have cross connects within their stack as well, or?
We don't, that's the cool thing about our architecture is that we don't need those cross connects. We're in the same facilities. We're aligned with RingCentral in 13 facilities, 1 for 1. So we're in the exact same locations. And we're paying for these cloud exchanges that basically give us direct peering with those providers. So we're a millisecond or 2 away from them. And that's the only time the traffic is on the open internet. Everything else besides that is controlled and optimized through our middle mile. So it makes it a very unique story and a very unique experience. And RingCentral is actually using our technology for their sales engineers that are in the field demonstrating the product to their customer base. So it added a lot of value because they can have poor performance in their call quality and still have the calls be maintained and still sound functionally better than if they didn't use a solution like CATO in their network. We also have, on another note, we also have Nice in Contact as a customer as well. They're leveraged, they leverage CATO on the back end to support their customer base. So they're not using it in their network, but they are using it for their customer base to get access into their resources.
So I think obviously that's important to note that these companies specifically have chosen us to improve their own delivery of their own product, right? That's probably the better story around it, I think. Obviously, the partnership is important, and we actually have data sheets or case studies on that with RingCentral. But ultimately, it doesn't necessarily matter because we're probably sitting in most of the data centers as most of the major UCaaS providers regardless. And that's the same for the major cloud service providers as well. It's really, again, kind of what I was talking about in the very beginning. Very simple solution. Everything is basically consumable. The complexity only comes when you're talking about tying it into the network, and it's really not complex at all. It's just simply talking to somebody like Jerry, an engineer, and getting that worked out. And then once it's done, it's ready to go, and it's secure and optimized to be able to deliver that or access that in any capacity. So I don't see any more questions, and I think we're right on time.